Hello and welcome back. If you remember on our last video, we went and got a whole mess of grass seed and a truckload of dirt, and we seeded a bunch of these bare areas in our property. Our weather here has been really great for grass growing the last week or so. It's been almost a week since we put that grass seed down, and we've had rain, sun, rain, sun, rain, sun. So that's perfect for grass growing. The temperatures have been moderate. It's not been getting below freezing at night. So let's go take a look and see if any of that grass seed is sprouting. Now, I want to take note of the fact that in some areas we just put the grass seed out and it's being watered in with the rain. In other areas we also had that truckload of dirt that we kind of raked in with the grass seed. So I want to see if there's a big difference there. When I was getting ready to do this grass seeding project, I did a little bit of research online, read some different blogs and some different articles, and it was kind of across the board as to whether or not you should cover your grass seed. Some said, yes, you do need to cover it for it to take root and establish. Some said it's not necessary. Some said you need to because otherwise the birds will eat it all. Some said that's just work that you don't need to do. So we opted to go ahead and get a truckload of dirt and make that go as far as possible. The reason being we only did one truckload is we only had so much time in that day. The landscape supply place that we went to, I think it was year before last, where we got what was supposed to be like topsoil. It turned out to just be clay and sand, and it stuck to your shovel. It was mostly just clay, and so that was rather disappointing. So this time we went to a different place that was recommended to me by a gardeners group on Facebook that I'm part of for Southern Oregon, and it was a much better blend. It is their topsoil blend. It's also used for grass, trees, and shrubs. It's a blend of compost. I think they do have a little bit of sand in there. Primarily what our area is clay, so I'm sure there's some clay in there too. So it was a really nice blend. We'll see if that makes any difference. If it does, we may go get another truckload. If not, we'll just leave it as is. But let's go take a look at these areas that we've seeded and see if there's any growth. It's been, I think I mentioned, it's been about 7 days. So we'll see where we're at. So this area isn't looking too promising yet. I did read that it takes 10 to 14 days for grass seed to sprout. So we may be a little early. So we'll just keep an eye on this and keep our hopes up that this actually will sprout. One thing that I'm noticing that's actually pretty funny is last fall, I dumped a whole bunch of our rotten pumpkins over here under this tree. And then we did a bunch of like grading and clearing right here. And clearly those pumpkin seeds have gotten spread all around. And so now we have volunteer pumpkins pretty much everywhere over here. So I'll show you those. It's actually really cute. So our little seep that's right there is not running nearly as quickly. And I think that's because although we have been having rain like nearly every other day, most of the snowpack that's in the mountains around us has melted off, and so that water that is popping up right there, the source of it is obviously I don't know where it comes from, but the source of that has slowed down. Our viewers have maybe mentioned putting a pond in right here, and that may be something that we do in the future. It could be that we kind of incorporate it with the drainage ditch so that all the water coming off the hillside hits that drainage ditch and it feeds the pond and then goes ahead and overflows into the creek. That might be something that we consider doing in the future, but it hasn't been real high on the list of things that have to get done around here quickly, so we just kind of deal with the water for a few weeks in the spring and call it good. Let's go check the other area that we primarily put most of the topsoil that we had in the pickup truck on. Let's see if that's doing any better. The thing about this area up here is that it's more shaded, so it might be staying damper in between the rain and sun, which I guess could be good for the grass, so we'll take a look. Now I don't really see any sprouting in this area either. So this is actually not discouraging, it's kind of encouraging because this is an area that we put a little bit more time and attention to. I've run the sprinkler here a little bit. This is the area that we put most of the topsoil in, and it has not sprouted either. So I feel like of the two areas, or well, there's several areas, but of these two major areas, if one of them was going to sprout, it would be this one, and it hasn't yet. So I think I might just be a little bit premature in checking this. We will check back in about another week and see how it's going. That will be our 14-day mark, and we should see some action at that point, I'm hoping. So we'll see how it goes. We'll check on this in the future. So the real reason that we are out here today is I have a few hours. It rained last night. It did not rain this morning though. I have a few hours before it's supposed to cloud back up and start raining again, and I really want to go get some work done in the garden. There's just a lot of garden cleanup that needs to be done. The lawn is actually getting tall in some areas. That needs to be mowed because I want to overseed some of the patchy areas. So I think what we're going to do is grab the tractor and we'll go down and we'll start with some cleanup, getting some stuff that's kind of just been strewn about. We'll get that cleaned up, put away where it's supposed to be, and then we can kind of tackle mowing the grass that's gotten tall and reseeding. Pick up these pieces of wood that I set here probably like 2 years ago and I've never done anything with. They're mill ends from Robert's Chainsaw Milling. So let's get them out of here. I'm going to take them over to the burn pile. I probably am not going to be able to burn them anytime soon. So if I want to use them for something in the future, I can, but they'll be out of the grass.
Sky high, busy life, I wanna leave. Oh, muscle tight, early light, cleanse on joy. Say my name or say it twice. Shed this layer of overthinking. Oh, I don't wanna be less than I can be. Waterfalls wash me. The wicked drowning water, let go wicked water. Wicked drowning water.
I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take down this cattle panel fencing that used to fence off the garden. However, we have the stick fence going up. This is the last section of the garden fencing that needs to be done. And this is a step that needs to happen before we can finish that garden fencing. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pull down this cattle panel fencing and pull out the T-posts and go put them where we have all of the rest of the materials. I'm sure we'll use these materials at some point in the future. I'm not sure for what, but we'll figure something out. But in the meantime, let's get them out of the garden. That was the job. Those little cattle panels, the short ones, I think they're like 8 foot long. Those are not heavy, but the really long ones that are 16 feet long, those are really heavy to pick up by myself and hoist up onto the tractor. That gate is really heavy too, but we got them up there, so that's good. Let's go put these up behind the pole barn where everything else is stacked. So my camera battery died earlier, but I wanted to just check back in and close this out. So I got a lot done today. I got all of the cattle panel fencing finished removing this last bit. I got a bunch of the random mill ends from Robert's Chainsaw Mill that have just been laying around the yard. I got those picked up and taken over to the burn pile. There was a burn barrel right over here with a huge stack of scrap wood that we've been using. It's full of nails and stuff, so I moved the burn barrel and that pile of scrap out to where the burn pile is. What we'll do is we'll actually burn anything that has nails or screws in it. We'll burn it in the burn barrel so that we don't have those nails and screws then in the ground running them over with the tractor and the lawnmower. But I wanted to get them out of the garden so that the garden can be all cleaned up and looking nice. The other thing that I did that I wasn't planning on doing, so I went along the edge of this big long rock bed that we have here, and I got all of the rocks kind of restacked. Every winter they get a little bit like knocked over and bumped with stuff, and so I got those all restacked and looking good, and then I pulled all of the grass from right alongside the rock bed so that it makes it easier when we're mowing. So I'll probably come along here with the weed burner. Uh-oh, it's starting to rain. I'll probably come along here with the weed burner and just burn this line and kill the grass right against the rocks here. That way it continues to stay easy. We can mow and it doesn't take as much time with the weed eater because that can be really time consuming. So anyway, I got a good start on that and got that cleaned up some. Hopefully we'll be planting in this bed soon. I think I'm going to be doing snap peas and maybe bush beans there. The other thing I did was I was able to come through with the lawnmower and I got all the grass knocked down. So I don't think it's going to be happening today because it's starting to rain right now, but I'm going to come in and overseed so that any of these like bald patches like this get cleaned up and looking good. We'll get grass growing in there and make this look all nice. So anyway, I'm excited about all the work that we got done in the garden. I am going to duck inside because it is really starting to rain. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you being here. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Take care and we'll see you soon.